good?
Yep.
All right, we are here. We are live. It's Thursday, and you see our gear. We're ready. We are ready for war today in another sport. But welcome to Bucketphoria. This is a podcast presented by Mafia Sports Report and the Sports Dynasty podcast. It's your same two. We back again, and let's get right into it.
All right. So against I'm trying to remember who they played, the Timberwolves. When this happened.
Oh, when Cat got hurt.
When Cat got hurt. Was it Washington?
I believe so.
Well, so he had a scary leg injury, and thankfully not for the year.
Yes.
Like it kind of like so best case scenario, he's gonna be off like a month and a half. But it's like the sky is falling down on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Actually, they had a good win yesterday, though. I'll give them that. Pretty good win yesterday against the Memphis Grizzlies. But it's like you're not gonna have your. Would you say he's the best player?
Yeah, I think I need more time with Ant. I'm still on Cat being the best player on this team,
right?
Because what maybe by next year or the year after it will develop into Ant. But right now I would say it's Cat. And what is he out like about a month?
Month and a half. Month and a half. Yeah.
That month is gonna feel like an eternity for Minnesota. Every win is gonna feel like everything for them because the biggest problem with this is that you're losing someone who spreads the floor. And it was weird because Ant played well and he hit 2 threes.
Right.
And they need him in this stretch of this month. He's gonna have to hit outside shots. Because I mean, I'm gonna take a real close to the games because I would like to know how their lineups are looking and who's replacing Cat and how is he being used. Because Cat did spread the floor a lot. Cat really did get a lot of touches in isolation against other centers. So I wonder how they're going to be used. It was weird how I got to watch this game. I don't know how Rudy Gobert had 1 rebound.
If it's the greatest, I had no idea.
That was weird to me. But this is could be season ending, to be honest with you, especially in this conference where it feels like everyone is beating each other. It feels what we got from 1 to like 11th or something like that.
I'll say 12. I think OKC.
12?
Yeah, because
OKC. Yeah, you're right because they just got their 9th win, right?
Yeah, OKC is not bad.
So it could in this month if it goes really bad, there could be a huge gap because Cat does a lot for this team. And this is not a team built on dealing with a next man up mentality because they don't really have much guys in the team anyway.
Yeah, San Antonio and Houston, right? Those are actually the bottom 2.
San Antonio and Houston, correct.
Is that 8?
I think so. Yeah, because everyone else is kind of close.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally everyone. Yeah, because you got I think you got us, then you got OKC.
Yeah, you got the Lakers
game apart.
You got the Lakers, you got the Thunder, right? You got the Clippers. You got
California. You got Dallas. You got Golden State. Oh yeah, you said California.
Yeah, California. You got Phoenix. You got
Phoenix.
You got all those teams. So
all those teams, yeah.
Got bunched together.
Memphis is right there with them too. I think they're like 12-9.
No, Memphis is up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only really teams in the West that's with a gap, I think, is like Phoenix and Denver, right?
Yeah.
It's like pretty much Phoenix and Denver. Everyone else is just they're so close. So with him being out, this could be season ending pretty much. To be honest with you,
yeah, it can be. And the problem is, right? As I just want to look this up just to make sure. You have the 3rd hardest strength of schedule remaining.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember like their games and all that. I'm pretty sure the reason why they're as good as they are,
it's because they play bad teams.
They haven't played anybody.
They play bad teams.
They had the 6th easiest strength of schedule so far. The only teams that had easier is Phoenix, Bucks, Clippers, Pacers, and Nuggets.
Interesting.
So, and the thing is with them is like it's kind of similar to what the Lakers were like last year in terms of like not like in terms of like the team, the construction of the team, more so of like Lakers last year had a bunch of easy games to start the year last year. They were teetering around the 500 range around there, and then as when they started playing the harder teams,
they started losing.
Losing a lot more, and that's something that we might see here. Because again, you look at this team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They look like they got no type of chemistry whatsoever.
Yeah, it looks awful, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure I don't even know what they want to do on offense. Like, is it? I know, because I know all the times I see Minnesota, a lot is revolved around Cat in the top of the key because he's such a triple threat center where he puts pump fakes and jab steps a lot.
Right.
and they kind of move around that. But now with him out, you still have the same limitations with Gobert. You still have D'Lo where you don't know what's gonna happen with him. I mean, he's either there's games where I'm pretty sure he had like a couple good games this year, but then there's those games where he's just awful.
No, because you gotta think about it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna go back to the game Cat got injured, the Wizards game, right? Because Porzingis got 41 points. Shout out to him. Both from All-Star.
Shout out to Porzingis.
Yeah, he been killing. But he dropped 41 on him. So, but it's like, okay, at least for Rudy Gobert's sake, where do you put him?
That's the thing, and that's always going to be the question: is
because
where do you put him?
Because Porzingis can move.
Porzingis is a very, very quick, big.
Yeah, Kuzma can move.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting cut.
He can.
He's a wing at the end of the day, and I'm not gonna talk about the guards because that's
right
obvious.
Kispert spreads the floor,
and
Rui spreads the floor as well.
Exactly. So if there's like games where it feels like he's like sort of like the playoffs. It feels he's completely useless.
Yeah, it feels like you got to take him out. But in this case, this team, they have no choice but to play him.
They got no choice but to play him. Exactly. And again, like...
And I just saw that score. Allowing a $142 is crazy.
Yeah, allowing a $142 for someone... And trading, your future and your bench for a center that cannot play defense outside the paint.
Yes. And
has no offensive game whatsoever. It's ridiculous, and this is what I want to talk about because it's still early. Even though it's not looking good for them right now, but it's still early. Is it one of the worst series ever?
Oh yeah, without question.
Because you got to think of it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the infamous Brooklyn and Boston trade. The
KG Paul Pierce.
Yeah, that pretty much. Nice. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Shout to the bots in the world.
Shout out to the bots.
Wow. Shout to the bots.
What I'll say about that is that team made playoffs.
No, I'm gonna get to that, right? Because they pretty much gifted them Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But the thing is, kind of like you said, they made the playoffs 3 years in a row.
They won a round, correct?
They beat the don't tell me Raptors in the first round.
Yeah, they won a round. Yeah.
So you got that right, and at least there was almost a point in time with the Celtics trade where it almost looked like it didn't matter anymore because they signed KD and what's his face Kyrie, and they traded for Harden, and they looked like they were about to win the ring before them.
They did. Now, credit to that. I'll go back a little bit. Credit to that Nets team. They did have a good regular season too. And if I could recall, I think they swept the Miami.
The first year, the second half of the year, they started beating everybody.
They started beating everybody. They got real hot because I remember Mason Plumlee was really good in that team
as a rookie. Yeah,
he was really good in that team. And if I remember correctly, I believe they swept the Miami Heat, LeBron's Heat in the regular season. Right? They ultimately lost them in the playoffs. But what I'm saying
matter.
Yeah, what I'm saying is they had a really good regular season, and there was expectations for this team. Now you go to this Minnesota team. I mean, the day that they made this trade, we were like, "This is horrible. This team is not going to be."
It wasn't just us. Most people said,
"Yeah."
Most people was questioning why they made that trade, and again, it doesn't make sense. And I understand. Okay, this is going to be something that I'm going to just say real quick. I understand when you made the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Played against a contender. You pushed them to 6 and lost because of your own doing. Let's be real here.
You got on your own way.
Kudos to the Grizzlies, but you got in your own way because there was just games I'm just watching. I'm like, how?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Sorry, can you delete comments?
I have no. I don't think you can. So
I don't think you can. Oh, well, it is what it is, bro.
Again, shout to the bots.
Shout to the bots. But yeah, as you were saying, I'm sorry.
But it's like you got your own way, right? But you had a good year. They went 46-36, if I remember correctly. Got the 7th seed. Beat the Clippers in the playing game, a grinded out game as well too.
They were a good team,
and they looked like they were heading into the right direction. But it's similar to what we said before that season started, where Raul was very hesitant on them. It was like they're the Timberwolves that they get in their own way, and they just like addicted to failure.
Yeah, it almost feels like they're destined to fail.
And I understand you want to make the moves to be better. That's what you're supposed to do. It makes sense. And trading for Rudy Gobert would not have been the worst thing in the world, depending on what the package was.
Yeah, if you could have cut that in half, man.
Like you could have kept Nick Breeze, you could have kept Jared Vanderbilt to at least have that similar presence off the bench.
It would have been better.
And you could have kept Beverly and traded like 2-3 first round picks. It would have been okay.
It would have been okay. And then the other thing about this too is like you traded for a player who could become obsolete in big games because of how this league has grown.
Screw big games. He's obsolete against the Wizards.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you in a conference where I'm gonna just put it like this. Let's say guys are healthy. You're in a conference where you got to deal with the Lakers that got like a guy like AD. And he's their center. AD's their center. He's too quick. You gotta.
Oh yeah. By the way, he can kind of shoot again.
And exactly. He had a 3 last night too. Yeah. You got. Who's the reigning MVP? Jokic. You got to deal with him. You got the Warriors who like to run small ball.
No, the worst matchup is let's just say if they somehow make the playoffs. The worst matchup is to play the Clippers.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, that's
pretty much
horrible.
What they did to the Jazz the year they beat them in 6.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a repeat of that.
It's gonna be the same thing.
The
they were down 0-2 and did that
exactly.
And then you got even the teams where they have like you quote unquote traditional bigs. They still spread the floor. So, for example, you play like the Pelicans. Valanciunas could still shoot a 3.
He doesn't even play that much though. Anyway,
he doesn't really even play
because
that much.
He's too slow-footed. At least they have a backup big in Larry Nance,
right?
Which that could have been your Jared
Who
Vanderbilt.
could spread the floor, and he shoots 3s now too. So you traded this much for a player where in situations, especially in the playoffs, where you're not going to be able to use them. But in your case, you have to use them because you don't have enough bodies.
You don't have enough bodies, and you have to justify the fact you traded your whole entire team for a man that, again, as a rim protector, one of the best of all time.
Yeah, of course.
I would not deny that.
Without question.
But in terms of like the way the league is now, you look at other rim protectors. Jared Allen kind of score a little bit. You feel me?
And he can spread the floor.
Jacopoto, he'll
hit like 1-3.
He'll try it if it's there, but not. But this week I'm mobile for anyway.
Yeah.
You got Jacopoto, who again doesn't catch by the floor, but at least he has a tiny bit of an offensive game, and that's significantly cheaper.
Look, Jared Allen could shoot a little midi.
Right, exactly. And your only thing can't be I can block shots and protect the rim. Although it can be valuable depending on the matchup, most really good offenses is going to pick that apart.
Right. That's another problem is if it was at least where you were a dominant scorer, well, you would be one of the best players in the league. But if you was I wouldn't say dominant. If you was
be competent.
Yeah, if you was a competent scorer, if you was decent,
Jazz, I could almost make the argument would have made the finals already.
Yeah. You'll be great.
I could almost make the argument.
But this is a guy who's not even an option on offense. So he could be unplayable on defense. Then he isn't an option on offense.
Because the Clippers would have got clipped.
Without question.
If that would have the case. But, since, they could run out the smaller lineup because he's not like he could do anything on the post.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the worst. I would say I think that's the worst thing about him is that you can't give him the ball and ask him to score. But that who Timberwolves ask of that of? Karl Anthony Towns. That's what he does. You lost that. And that's about 18. Right. And that's about what, like 15 to 20 points a game?
It's supposed to be 25, but
supposed to be.
But he's kind of have it down here, so
right. But nonetheless, even on a down year, 15 to 20 a game, you losing that, and you can't tell Gobert to do that. So I don't even know. It's just weird. And I think recently he had like a 17-17. I wondered how the hell he scored 17 points.
They probably did him guard the pick and roll.
Probably, right? But it's just such a terrible situation. And now I'm assuming Ant is gonna have to shoot like 25 to 30 shots a game.
I mean, that's what I'm not gonna say that's what he's supposed to do, but he's supposed to be taking a lot of shots anyway. You're supposed to this is supposed to be your breakout year. And there's one thing I want to speak to real quick. I want to go back to the trade thing real quick, because there's times where you were one piece away and you make that trade and you're good. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, for example.
Okay,
they just lost to the Heat in 5 games in the second round, right? In the bubble, because Eric Bledsoe can't shoot to save his life.
Yeah.
So what they decided to do is they traded Eric Bledsoe and a few pieces and 3-4 first round picks.
Yeah.
Got to Drew Holiday. Fits perfectly.
fits amazing.
And literally, year one, won a title.
Yeah, and the first year with Drew Holiday won the title.
And you can make the argument they would have went back to back if Chris Middleton didn't get hurt against the Bulls.
Yep, they're without question a finals contender. They're without question a finals appearance.
Let's look at Phoenix. Literally that same year, they had that bubble stretch right when ain't on the bubble, but unfortunately for them, missed the playoffs. Right. So trade for Chris Paul. They traded a few picks and a few pieces. Got Chris Paul because you know what? Because bringing that locker room presence, that
leadership,
and him and Devin Booker gel perfectly.
They did. It was a match made in heaven.
So
and they made the finals
again. That's it. They made the finals.
Yeah.
Lost to that Bucks team because Giannis is
is a monster, but they made the finals. They did
right, and there you go again. So it's like, and this is a smaller move. I want to bring this up real quick too.
Mm-hmm.
Last year with Boston.
Okay,
Derek White.
That was huge. Yeah, it changed the ties of that team.
So there's times where you make the trade to get you over the top, and it has to fit.
Yes.
You can't be like Brooklyn, and this is a little unfair to them because again they did suffer through injuries. I'm referencing this season a lot. Now think about it. The James Harden trade.
Right.
I remember seeing that this season last. I'm not gonna lie to you. They made a second round, but injuries caught up to them, and they traded the entire future and their bench for James Harden. But at least James Harden can average 30 points per game.
Right. And even everything that happened with that team, they still had a game 7 against the Bucks,
against the champions.
Against the champions, I cannot see Timberwolves getting that far.
And I'm sorry, James Harden, about you say that's getting paid again. Philadelphia. Again, it's not your fault, probably.
Even they won a round. I can't even see. I don't even know if this Timberwolves team gonna make the play.
I'm not gonna lie, Rob. I continuously forget that they won a round last year.
They did, yeah. They beat Toronto. We didn't think that was gonna happen.
They beat Toronto by like 50.
Yeah,
in
they
game 6.
destroyed Toronto. Yeah, but yeah. So that team even won a playoff round. I just cannot. I don't even know if this team's gonna make the play-in, man. And if they do, I don't know if they're gonna get out of the play-in. And if they get,
if they play-in, they lose to the first team.
They're gonna lose in the first round. All those teams who made those trades, which ultimately you could call a failure, they did so much more.
Right.
And I just cannot see.
Unless you're the Lakers in last year.
Yeah, unless you're the Lakers. Yeah.
Listen, at least we're playing good now.
Yeah, that's true. But I just cannot see it. I cannot see the upside to this. I can't.
That's because there is none.
Yeah, and that's the problem. One of those ant or cat, one of them get hurt, it's like you're done.
And what's crazy is, again, it's crazy. The first full game he didn't play, they actually won against the Grizzlies. Against Charlotte, that was a good win. Because Jalen Noel was actually having a quietly good year, and at the end, finally decided to, sprout out from the shell.
Right.
Want to be really good.
I mean, that's what he's supposed to be. It's interesting. It's interesting to see. I wonder how they're gonna run their offense. And let's say it's a situation where they do. Let's say they go on a stretch where they're winning.
Right now, I have questions.
Now there's questions. It's like, okay, was Cat hurting the team, or was So I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be interesting to see. I personally think they're gonna lose most of their games. But if Anthony Edwards
the
plays
next 5 games,
yeah.
I'm talking 5 for now.
Okay,
it's the Thunder.
That's a tough one, and that's probably a loss. But it's winnable.
That depends if Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's playing.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
The Pacers.
Tough game. It's winnable.
Jazz.
Again, tough game, winnable.
Portland twice. At Portland. A cold Portland.
They're a cold Portland, but I think Portland, as cold as they are, is significantly better than the Timberwolves team.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And then you got the Clippers after that, so that's fine.
And you got the Clippers. So I could see
No, to me, I think this is the perfect stretch because nothing too difficult.
Yes.
But nothing too easy either because it kind of shows you what y'all about.
Right. I mean, if they could get 2. Because what you got to do is survive. Is what you have to do. You don't want this to get out of hand with Cat being out. You just want to survive.
Right.
If you could stay a little mid, if you could stay mid or slightly below mid until he comes back, I would call that a success. But if you start losing 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row, multiple times, it's gonna get out of hand, and you can't catch up. So, like I'll piggyback on what Alex said. It's a good 5 for what you're dealing with, right?
There's still more teams you got to pay against, but
course.
But I just want to see what the 5 teams were in that stretch. You know, it doesn't help that eventually you got to play Boston twice. You got to play Milwaukee. You got to play Milwaukee one more time because you haven't played Boston yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still have to play the Lakers 3 more times, which looks like they found themselves, so that's fun.
Those are tough games.
Still got to play Golden State. I don't think they played Brooklyn yet either. I don't think I could be wrong.
They're playing Brooklyn with KD. He's scorching.
Well, hopefully he's healthy at that time.
That's true.
And it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really, really bad.
What has to happen there is, I think I said this before, Anthony Edwards is going to have to shoot 20 to 30 shots a game, but it's going to be how is he going to play in that stretch? How is D'Lo going to play in that stretch? He's going to have to shoot well from 3. I don't even know who's the playmaker in this team, man. I don't even know who's the playmaker in this. That's another problem with this team. Who creates for their players? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't answer that.
Yeah, I don't know who's the playmaker in this team. So is this just like ISO ball with Ant? I mean, if Ant's hot, he's as good. He's as good of a scorer as anybody in the whole league. But is that going to happen? Because it's weird that it hasn't happened yet. But Ant did say, because this is a player that he creates in scoring from the perimeter and inside.
Right.
But it seems like this year he can't get much inside. His words, he said he can't get inside because the floor isn't spread.
Well, it helps when you have a center who's 7'2" and can't score to save his life. So yeah, that helps that.
Exactly.
That kind of helps that. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with this team for the next few games.
Very interesting. And
hopefully Cat can come back as soon as possible for his own sake.
Yes.
And for the fans of Minnesota's sake. So let's move on to that same division, actually.
Yes,
let's talk about the Utah Jazz real quick, because I don't know what happened. What's the last episode we talked about? I don't know if it was the Kings or them.
So the last episode was the Kings. The episode before was Utah. So
yeah,
2 weeks ago.
No, because I want to make sure that we didn't jinx it by accident. Because
I'm gonna say no.
Because
if this was the Kings, I would say yeah, we jinxed them.
But
because it was 2 weeks ago.
Were on a 5-game losing streak. Got the win yesterday.
Big win.
Thank you for them. But they were on a 5-game losing streak. Lost to the Clippers, Pistons. Shout out to Kevin Knox.
Pistons at home.
At home.
That's the bad one.
Golden State, Phoenix, and Chicago.
Yes.
And they beat the Clippers last night.
And they lost to Chicago at home as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it's frozen a bit. Okay, we're good.
Okay, we're good. It froze for a bit. That's why. So let's talk about the Jazz real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go in last night, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. Was Mike Conley out for a little while?
Was Mike Conley out?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Because I remember him not playing. He didn't play last night, by the way.
He's pivotal to that team. Because everyone is.
Yeah, because that could be a big reason why they've been losing.
Yeah, it could be a combination of that. It could be a combination of teams adjusting to them as well. Because this is a team where you could really pound the rock on them.
Yeah, because their starting center is Kelly Olynyk.
It's really bad. You could pound the rock on them badly. I mean,
no disrespect to Kelly Olynyk, by the way, because he does score for this team. But
he's playing real good.
As a defender, oh my goodness.
What I would say is when there's a team that has a problem in the inside and you have no one to fix it, it's hell. I mean, it's nothing because it's nothing you can do. I mean, look what Joel did. He soloed them. Joel Embiid soloed them.
He dropped down near 60.
Yeah,
Yes,
he dropped down near 60 on them. So this is a team where people are starting to figure out. Because me and Alex have different opinions about this, but I think this is a pretty good team. But I think they're gonna live with this problem throughout this entire season. I don't think it'll be at a point because I still think they're in the mindset of wanting to make the playoffs and not wanting to be in that tank mentality. And it's because I think they're 7-3 at home. Yeah, and they just lost their 2 home games. What I was telling them is if they start to lose these home games, then I'll say, okay, they transition into full tank.
I think they're starting the tank kind of early, honestly speaking, and I think it was a situation of like, let's show everyone what we could do. He's been out this past 6 games, by the way. That started the 5-game losing streak, actually.
That's huge.
That started the 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, that is huge.
But
yeah, because he's their playmaker. It's not Clarkson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, Clarkson playmaker hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I think they might be transitioned to full tank mode because again, I think they want to show like teams like, listen, we're actually good at this basketball thing. Real quick, just to give them like a 20-game sample size, and then just pull the plug after a while because again, this team, let's be real, they can only go so far.
You know, this team, the peak of this team is
it's the first round exit. Let's be real, yeah. And they're fun.
Well, I would say the peak of this team is the second round appearance.
No, I think it's first round exit.
I would say the absolute peak.
I think it will literally have to depend on who the.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on who they play.
But like, I can only think of like maybe one team that will lose to them in the first round. That's about it. But
yeah, probably maybe because everyone in the West have bigs.
And the thing is like, okay, the ceiling of this team is limited. It's very limited. They're fun. Don't get me wrong. Watching Larry Bird do what he's doing is very fun. Don't get me wrong. Clarkson having a good year. It's like they're auditioning to get the trade value up so they can shit them out and then go full on tank. Because what's the use of keeping Mike Conley at this point? What's the use of keeping Jordan Clarkson at this point?
Yeah, I'm sure teams want Jordan Clarkson very badly.
And what's the use of having Kenny? Because apparently every team he goes to, they're good.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how he becomes relevant the player. I don't know how he becomes relevant every year where it seems like his team is always doing something.
Right.
Every single year.
Right, exactly. Every team he goes to is good.
Yeah. I would say, so what are they, 13-10 right now?
13-11.
13-11. It's still one of the better records in the league because everyone's kind of beating each other up right now. Like I said, the only teams that's kind of like away from that is like Phoenix.
Phoenix and Denver top two.
Phoenix, Denver, and Bucks and Celtics.
Right, even though it's like the West is like they're all a game apart from each other.
Yeah, and Bucks, Celtics, and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like besides those teams, what are those 5 teams that I just named? Besides those 5 teams, it's like everyone is kind of beating each other up. So and they're above 500. But it'll be interesting to see. I think in a week or two we will really, really see.
Especially Boston right now. Boston look like the clear-cut best team in the league right now.
Boston looks like. I hope I'm not. I don't want to jinx them because of this, but Boston kind of looks like how the way the Dodgers were playing last season, that the season that just passed.
Listen, if they lose the same way they did, like Dodgers lost, I'm gonna start dying.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, like
no, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
They're kind of like dominating this regular season right now. It seems like Boston is just waiting for May.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it looks like. Is what they're waiting
pretty
for.
much. And honestly speaking, with the
Utah
Jazz, right? It's just like, why not try to get Victor? Why not try to add to this?
Jesus, imagine that group getting Victor.
Why not try to add Victor? Why not try to get like School Henderson or something? Because again, this team is very limited at what you could do.
My thing is like, you do have 13 wins already, right? And you got teams like San Antonio and Houston
But hold up, though. I'm gonna stop you right there because I'm gonna say this real quick. Hasn't the lottery as of late favored those teams that have kind of been like 11th-ish, 11th, 12th?
That's true.
As opposed to
That's
like,
true. I just as a owner of an NBA team, I would just be losing my mind off this lottery because I would just be losing my mind because it's like no matter how bad I am, I could still get unlucky. But what I'm saying is, you got teams, even though your point is noted, teams like Houston and San Antonio, they're going to keep losing. They are really bad. Those teams are going to keep losing.
Because I forgot what year it was. I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
The year of Ja and Zion. Because weren't the worst teams like Phoenix?
Yeah.
Phoenix, New York. Phoenix went all the way down to 6.
Well, I mean, if you're banking on that, that's cool. But it's like, no, if you're gonna start tanking, you kind of gotta do it like now.
Okay,
like, you gotta do it like right now.
Okay, I got 2019 up right now. I'm gonna share now. Okay,
right,
worst team in the league was the Knicks. They were third to pick, right? Cleveland was second worst team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They were 5th. Phoenix was 6th. Chicago was 7th. Atlanta was 8th. Washington was 9th. And New Orleans and Memphis 1 and 2. And the Lakers that year was 4th. Being the worst team in the league is not the biggest guarantee in the world.
It's not.
There are some years though. You got the 2020.
But what I'll say is you have the highest probability in the lottery thing. So
because it happened. Because look at the Cavaliers. I think it's the year after. Yeah. You can make the argument they should have got Anthony Edwards with that group, but they fell out the 5th, and it was the second worst team in the league.
Right.
The worst team in the league was Golden State, but they got second, and they got Raul's boy Kwame.
They got Kwame 2.0.
Yeah, Raul's boy. And
Um,
it's like once a year, it's like a bottom 3 team plummets.
yes,
And a team that's not supposed to be down there just springs up.
it happened again. Okay.
No, we're good.
Right.
So being this good now and losing, not the worst thing in the world. If anything, I can make an argument that's smart. Do that.
Let's see.
Don't be the worst team because there's cases where you get the top 2 pick. Look at Houston and Detroit, Orlando too. Finally, they finally got the more of a pick after 55 years of being garbage. But there's times it's like if you have the third. You know what? Notice it? It's like when you have the 3rd worst record, you're going to be the number 5 pick. I just realized that.
We have the 3rd worst record.
Yeah, you give me the 5th overall pick.
It's interesting. This lottery again. If I was a GM or an owner, this lottery would just drive me insane, man.
Like try to be a 12 or 13 seed. Be around there. I think you might get the number 1 overall pick this year. I have a feeling if you're the worst team in the league, you're not getting him. I just had this feeling.
More than likely, it's. I mean, who knows? I mean, this lottery is crazy, but let's just see. Like I said, if they start losing home games, that's when I'll really know. Like, yeah, when they start losing home games. But let's see. I'm not gonna say they're on tank mode yet, but I'll give it like a week or 2. Let's see.
Listen, if you're gonna tank, that's how you do it. And Loki, Chicago, I would kind of think about doing that too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's not too bad.
Because
for Chicago,
let's talk about the Bulls real quick. I really want to talk about them real quick because it's like I don't want to use the word disappointed because
Zach LaVine sucks.
Because their expectations are like weird going into the year.
Yeah, it is weird.
But for starters,
I'm sure the expectations were they're going to be a playoff team, guaranteed.
Around there. But it was always like you think about like the teams. Because remember before you see it was like who in the East is going to be left out because there were a lot of teams that were good. They were kind of like the black sheep of it all. Like they're kind of like the ones like they might make it, might not sure. There's always one like parameter though that we always said like it depends if Lonzo Ball will be here, but I'm just gonna assume he's gonna miss the season, which sucks tremendously.
Yeah, it does suck.
Sucks tremendously. Hopefully he could hopefully his knee could heal up and he can.
Zach LaVine's been horrible.
But yeah, I was about to bring that up right now.
Horrible in this team.
Zach LaVine, you look at his numbers. Numbers not the worst thing in the world, but it's like
what are they?
He's at the 21 points per game shooting. I thought someone else's percentage was look. Okay, never mind. No, percentage is trash. It's 40%.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I'm like, he's awful. And you know why I know so much that he's awful?
Because you bet on him.
Because of FanDuel. That's why. Because he's terrible. He's terrible. No,
I bet on him once he hit for me.
All seriousness, I bet on Zach LaVine to get 15 points and for him to get 18, and he can't get that. This is a guy who is scoring title. He's a scoring title level scorer, right? So he should be averaging 20, especially with Zoe out. He should be averaging like 25. He should be averaging 25 a game. He should be. There's no reason who DeRozan, who could barely shoot threes, is. I see every game. It looks like he got like 40. It feels like he got like 35 points, where he's scoring 50.
Listen, I would say he got better at that 3-point shooting thing, kind of, and he
did get better. But Zach LaVine,
he's a mid-range killer.
He's a mid-range killer. He did get better, but Zach LaVine is a high volume 3-point shooter. This is a guy I should be seeing him get like 3 or 4 threes a night. You know what I'm saying? Like on the regular, because that's how he plays. But all he does is shoot bricks, and he don't play no defense. So if Zach LaVine and he don't play make. So if Zach LaVine's not scoring, what's his value?
Yeah, because I'm gonna reference this Magic game real quick. Oh my goodness, it was so bad. How bad he played. He went 1 for 14 with 4 points, and
I've seen a lot of those games.
I want to talk about that game too, real quick, because look at the Vucevic missed the 2 free throws, and that 2 Jalen Suggs game winning 3.
That was insane.
Shots Jalen Suggs, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about after the game because this actually kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So, after the game, right? They lost by 1 point, right? Zach LaVine asked about, him getting benched, and says that he don't know why he was benched at the end of the game, and like he should have been out there. He said people say ask coach about that because I don't know. Well,
what? It's because you suck.
When you're shooting less than 10% from the field, it's kind of hard
to
have you there when your shot attempts is more than a percentage. It's hard to have you out there, especially when you're not a good defender, you're not a good playmaker. So what the hell else you really bring to the table?
Yeah, it's like
they came back from this game because DeMar DeRozan and Javonte Green. Let's be real here.
Exactly. It's Zach LaVine is like the offensive Rudy Gobert, and I'm gonna explain why.
Offensive Rudy Gobert is crazy.
with Rudy Gobert, right? If he's not dominating on the defensive end, what does he bring you to the table?
Correct.
Nothing, right?
Yeah.
If Zach LaVine is not scoring points, what does he bring you to the table? There's literally nothing you can do. You could orchestrate your offense in attacking him, right? You already know that he's not going to play make. He won't create for others. If he doesn't have the ball in his hand, I wouldn't really depend on him too much to be an off-the-ball shooter. So if he's not scoring the ball, he's not really doing anything. He's useless. And that's pretty much what he's been for this whole season. Again, it seems like every time I look at a Bulls game, I see DeRozan have at least 35 points in the game, and they still lose. And I look at Zach LaVine, and he's abysmal.
What's bad, too, about this team is that, like, the duo of him and DeRozan is one of the worst duos in the league right now.
It is.
Because, again, DeRozan's great, by the way.
He's great, but he's also not the best. He's also a bad defender, too.
But it's not disrespect to DeRozan as a scorer, but yeah, he's a really bad defender. And with him, Vucevic, and LaVine,
yeah.
Like, their plus minuses are bad.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a team where these guys are outgunning you.
And it doesn't help that Nikola Vucevic, ever since he came to this team, don't know how to play basketball on the offensive side. He's pretty much there to rebound the ball, essentially.
Yeah. He shoots a couple threes, but
like I think he's better this year than he was last year.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty bad.
It's still pretty bad, yes. Compared to his Orlando version of himself. Yes.
Is what they were trading for.
Yeah.
And then and then you got Zach LaVine, who's not scoring well either, and you traded for Lonzo Ball in a sign trade. You traded for Nikola Vucevic, and you traded for DeRozan. No, they signed DeRozan. I'm lying. They signed DeRozan.
The more you say this and the more you look at this, people who's really been following the Bulls, it seems like this team really does revolve around Lonzo Ball.
No, they really do.
This team revolves around
bad
Lonzo Ball.
How much they rely on Lonzo. And ever since, again, look at last year. Ever since he went down with the injury, the season pretty much ended.
Everything changed. They looked like one of the best teams in the league. They were top 3. They were number 1 seed in the East for a minute. And they were one of the best defensive teams. He went down, everything changed. But that's how good for those who probably don't like Lonzo Ball too much, he's such a good all-around player where he will literally change the rankings of your entire team. So, and he done this in the Lakers, he done this in the Pelicans, he did this in the Bulls. As a team defense, when he's there, it seems like they're always top 10 every time. When he goes down, they plummet. Every team he's played for.
And it's amazing too that he's done that too, because even you look at the surrounding pieces around him.
Yeah,
defensively, they're not good defenders.
They're not. And it's like, who are you doing this? The only people I can say is him and AC is doing this. Alex Caruso, for those who don't know, those are the only 2 guys who's really doing that, right? So for him to have a team, an entire team, to be top 10 in defense because of his presence says a lot. It says a lot, and he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league too. He evolved to that too. What was he shooting, like 40-something% or almost 40% from 3?
There, yeah, no, he was really good.
And then we can't question his playmaking skills. He came in with that. He came in with that. So this team revolves around Lonzo Ball a lot. And for Zach LaVine to be playing this way, it's unacceptable. I'm surprised they haven't even lost more games, to be honest with you.
No, because they're weird.
They are.
Because they lost to the Magic and the Thunder, but on that stretch, they beat Boston again.
Yeah, that's right. They beat Boston twice.
They beat Boston and they beat Milwaukee.
It's like,
huh?
They're like a very frustrated team. Like they could have the night where they could compete with anybody, but for the most part, they'll just lose these weird games. Like again, like Orlando was one of those weird games. Like, how did you lose that?
And again, it's like, and the reason why I say that they should like try to, I'm not saying you won't use the word tank, but like making the playoffs not gonna help you. Let's be real here.
No, well, this is
because in the Vucevic trade, remember they had 2 first-round picks. The one that got Franz Wagner and
Killer
this year's, but the thing is, it's top 4 protected. So if you get lucky in the lottery and you miss the playoffs, let's just say you get lucky, you get number 1.
This is a team. If they were to get number 1, that's game changing. That is insane.
We're talking a whole different story. get anybody. You need to keep your draft pick. It's one of those. It's
Yeah.
almost that bad. You need your draft pick this year because where is this team going? You got no young assets. You got Patrick Williams, but I'm sorry, but around this score, what he is what he is.
What he is what he is. That's true.
And I like Patrick Williams. I think the potential is really high, but what he is. Lonzo Ball, when he's there, the team is an elite team when he's there.
They are an elite team when he's there.
What he is what he is. Zach LaVine, what he is what he is. DeRozan, what he is, he's going to regress eventually, but...
And this is a DeRozan that he is literally in his prime. He got better. This is the best of DeRozan. He is an unstoppable offensive player. He's going to get you 30-plus points. It seems like every night. There's games he might even get you 50. Who he did that to? Did he do that against the Bucks? No, he did that against Boston. Yeah, he gave him 50. Bro, this is
one of those games.
This is the Celtics. They'll lock you up.
No, I think it was the game they lost when he dropped 50, right?
Was the game? Yeah, I think it's the game he lost.
I think the game he lost to Boston. He dropped 50.
He lost to Boston. Damn, they already played Boston 3 times? Wow, that's crazy. This is the Celtics, bro. This is the Celtics. They'll lock you down. KD, you know about that. Right? It's true. No, it's the truth.
I think defensively, they're not that good this year. So far.
Okay.
So far.
He dropped 50 on them.
They'll be better. They'll be better when the season goes on.
Right. 50 is
when
crazy.
When he's back.
50 is crazy. 50 is crazy, bro. But this team, this team rolls around Lonzo Ball too much, and Zach LaVine can't be. If Zach LaVine was, if it was last year's Zach LaVine, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They'll be hovering around 500, and they would be a guaranteed playing team. But again,
exactly.
Are they better than the Knicks? Not really.
Ooh, I would say no. But my thing is, I could see DeRozan himself being able to beat them.
But I could see Jalen Brunson dicing up that.
I could see that too.
Defense, and
I could see that too.
And giving his team easy looks.
I can see that too.
Because New York can score.
No. Yeah, they can. Yeah, Jalen Brunson is amazing.
No, Jalen Brunson's been really good this year.
Really good.
Again, he's been there. Again, crazy. He's been worth the money. It's kind of crazy to take
for the production that he's giving them. Is worth the money.
No, yes. Yeah, he's been pretty good. Again, I got nothing bad to say about
it. He looks like an all-star.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And back to the Bulls, it's like you have too many people that what they are is what they are. You got no young asset.
Yeah, Kobe White.
He needs to go to a new team.
He needs to go to.
I don't think he's bad by any means, but again, it's like he passes expiration date in that team.
Right. And who else? Who they got? The Javonte Green. He is what he is.
He is what he is. Exactly. Just
and I actually kind of like him. Who am I missing? Oh, Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, no, he's good. I forgot. No, he's really good. He can actually get better, but
these guys, yeah.
But again, you got too many people that they're capped at what they are, and it's not that good. And again, it's hindsight is 2020 because we thought we would gain Magic Vucevic. Because again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I hate the trade. I love the trade when it happened.
I liked it too. Yeah, I liked it too.
You got rid of Otto Porter's contract, which was bad at the time. You got rid of Wendell Carter, who shout out to him. He's flourishing over there. Shout out to him. And gave him 2 first-round picks. One will turn out to be Franz Wagner. The thing I'll tell you about this, though, is that who said he was going to draft him anyway? Let's be real here.
That's very true. They might have, though, because they got marketing, so I can see them getting Franz.
Yeah, of course. But no, it's again, with the new regime, especially they had new regime, it's different. And again, it's not promised they would have took him, but still, it's like it's looking like Orlando's running away with this trade.
With the trade, yes.
And it sucks too because when the Bulls are really good, the NBA is good.
They're one of those teams. Yes. When the Bulls are good, it seems like the NBA is great. When Derrick Rose was, that NBA was so much fun. That's my favorite era of the NBA. Me personally is when Derrick Rose and them was there, the league was so great. Obviously, you got Jordan. So definitely, when the Bulls are good, the league is in good hands.
Right, exactly. Sure. And like again, with those high market teams, with like the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics, the Bulls, like those type of teams, like when they're good.
Last year when they were like around the 1 seed, like the league was really hot.
The league was really hot.
Yeah.
I had so much fun watching Bulls games when they were healthy. Yeah. But
they're trash. they're in a very tough spot right now. They're in a very tough spot.
Yeah, again, I think they need that pick more than I think they do.
I agree with that. They're also the most dangerous team to get that pick.
No, they are. No,
they get that pick.
No, they should get that pick. It's a problem.
That changes the landscape of the whole league because that's not a lottery pick level team. So them getting it is
Any
like,
of the top four, any of the top 4 slots,
right.
good.
So that's to say that's why like when everyone was fearful of Golden State getting that pick with Wiseman, like, oh my goodness. But he's Kwame, so
But luckily that draft class is so
exactly.
if there was a year for that to happen with that one.
But if let's say there was a world where Wiseman was who he was supposed to be, and this is the Golden State Warriors getting it, we would have a world of trouble. You know what I'm saying? But
Imagine if because I remember this when they had Minnesota's pick with the Wiggins trade. Imagine with the 4th pick, because totally protected.
mm-hmm.
Imagine with the 4th pick in that draft.
Who was the 4th pick?
Scotty Barnes.
Oh my goodness, my goodness, that would have been a problem. That would have been a big problem. But that's just how the cards play. Because if Wiseman, who he was supposed to be, who we thought he would be, we'd be in a world of trouble.
Right.
Because
I'm not gonna lie to you, protect the picks in general. It's like the best state ever.
Yeah, it is
for this sport because you can think of a few instances that like if the picks like were unprotected, it would have been very bad for that franchise.
It would have been very bad, yeah. But yeah, I agree with what he said. He said I think they needed more than they think they do. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But if they would get one of them, they would become one of the most dangerous teams in the league.
Exactly.
One of the most dangerous teams.
And one last thing I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Lakers.
Ooh, okay.
Let's talk about the Lakers. And a positive note.
Yes, sir.
And
fire Casey.
Tommy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was waiting for that, by the way.
Right. I was like, we're not gonna get no Tommy today. How you doing, man?
I hope everything that could go wrong for your team goes wrong for today.
Oh yeah, they're the only game today, correct?
No, I meant the Bills game.
Right. Yeah, we're enemies today. But his team is playing today, isn't it?
They're playing the Mavericks.
Are playing today.
Yeah, it's the only game of the night for some reason. Oh yeah, before I talk about Lakers, I want to talk about that real quick because it's actually kind of annoying me
having those like 1-game slates.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like we had a 13-game slate yesterday, and just one today.
That gotta stop, man.
And it's not even a good one. Like again, like Dallas and Detroit. No disrespect to those two teams, obviously, but Detroit again, they look like one of the worst teams in the league.
It's meh, is what it is.
It's like
meh.
Like
unless you love Luka, you're not watching that.
Unless Luka, or you're a Detroit Pistons fan.
Or you're a Pistons fan.
You're not watching that.
It's like it's a meh game. That's a game that's supposed to be stacked with a whole bunch of other games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
and I don't want to hear the fact that like there's football going on that day. You have games on Sunday, like 8 of them. Like,
they do have a lot of games on Sunday. That's true. So it can't be. That's not an excuse. You're right.
And same thing on Monday. You have decent amount of games on Monday too.
Yeah, Monday. It's usually like Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and Sundays. I mean, it's really their days. It was kind of weird how yesterday they had so many games. Isn't just
the Wednesdays a lot of games too?
Wednesdays a lot of games too. It was weird how yesterday it was kind of they had that many games. That was weird.
No, like don't you remember? I think it was before Election Day where literally every team played.
I remember that. That was one. Yeah, that was fun though. I'm not gonna
like literally every team played that day. Like
yeah.
So I just don't understand why we have nights where it's only one game.
That doesn't make sense.
If it was like 3 games or 2 of them nationally televised, fine, makes sense, whatever. But it's literally only a game. I have no choices in my head. On my hands to if I wanted to watch basketball.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I like to have just games on. So it's only one.
Like I'm
gonna be watching the Patriots today. I know that. But let's say if I wasn't like a Patriots fan, I would have had like the Bills game. I would have had like whatever the football game was today. I would have had it, and I would have had a bunch of other NBA games. So
right. But anyways, many rant because again doesn't make sense to me.
Does it?
Let's talk about the Lakers, and again it's going to be positive Lakers talk. Contrary to what you usually hear. So, the Lakers started off really, really bad. He started off 0-5. They went back-to-back games. Shout out to Matt Ryan against the Pelicans.
And he got waived.
Officially? Crazy. And they lost another 5 games. They were 2-10 at one point. Right?
They were 2-10. Wow.
Now, 8-12.
8-12.
They went 6-2 in their
They should be 10-10, but
in the last 8 games. And 2 of those losses, especially the last one, was avoidable. Like, especially the Suns loss. The Suns loss was a good loss. Devin Booker actually struggled in that game. It just became Bridges had 25, and Dwayne Washington actually looked pretty good in that game. And Indiana, they
escaped.
They escaped with that win.
Escaped with that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When they hit that buzzer beater, I'm wondering who the hell is that?
I don't know who that was. I don't know who that was.
And Raul could tell you, I know a lot of players, even
Yeah,
players that like don't play. I knew who they are.
I didn't know. I didn't have a clue, the slightest clue, who that player was who hit that game winner. I still don't even know what his name was.
I know his last name is Nemhard. I think I don't know how I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right now, but
It's unbelievable, bro. It was unbelievable.
But aside from those two games,
Lakers look great.
Lakers look pretty good. Again, they got the game against the Brooklyn Nets where Anthony Davis, especially him, shout out to him. He's looked
Amazing.
He looks like himself from before.
I would say I think he looks better, and here's why.
Because he's more aggressive around the rim and can actually finish it.
That and mainly because he is dominating on the rebounding end.
Yeah,
I've never seen him. I could say I think this is the best he's ever been right now in this stretch so far. It almost seems like it's a guarantee for him to get 10 rebounds.
Right.
It almost seems like it's a guarantee. So I think he stepped up a lot this year. I have a lot of respect for AD this year in particular. He knew what he had to do, and he's doing it. He's stepping up.
Yeah, because you got to think about it like this, right? Because especially early in the year, we were kind of bad on the rebounding side of the ball.
We were. Yeah.
So this is actually very well needed, actually.
There's games we lost because of that.
Right, exactly.
There's games we lost because of that. But
Minnesota.
But he saw that and he said, you know what? We can't rebound as a team. I'm going to do it. There's games he had 20 rebounds. There's games he had 15 rebounds, 16 rebounds. I think last night he had like 10 or 12.
I guess I think I had 12.
So it seems like it's a guarantee. He's getting at least 10. That's what it feels like.
He had 12.
Yeah, 12.
27-12.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
and
he's really stepped up.
And what's good too is like, they're getting some pieces back. They're getting Dennis Schroeder back. They're getting Thomas Bryant back.
Yep.
And with those pieces playing, they look good.
And look how much those guys played. Those were pivotal pieces to the team that was out. Dennis Schroeder handles the ball a lot in this team.
So, because he's a solid playmaker.
Yeah, he's a solid playmaker. But what I'm saying is this team was awaiting his return. They were in heavy need of his return because look at the plans that they had for him. He always got the ball. He's always facilitating. But I'm sure they doing a lot of what they did the last time he was there because he had the ball a lot last time he was there too. So they already know what he could bring to the table. I believe Thomas Bryant had like 14 points last night.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so these two guys were
also against a team that I alluded to. I think it was last episode before that them not having a center could be a massive problem in Portland. So
exactly
it helps.
Well, you know what? If you don't have a center, then that's what you're supposed to do.
Of course, yeah.
You were big, you're supposed to score. So kudos to you, Thomas Bryant. Good stuff. But you were, I think Alex and I were probably the most excited for you to come to the team.
Yeah, no, I was very happy we got him.
So, I mean, Austin Reeves is breaking out that shell, man.
That's exactly what I want to talk about too. In this 8-game stretch, averaging 15 points per game, shooting 62% from the field and 50% from three. And what's crazy too, because it's like, I forgot what game it was that I texted around. I'm like, he needs to be more aggressive.
That was the game that we lost to Phoenix.
The Phoenix game, okay, because
we lost to Phoenix.
I think it was right before it led to that situation where Patrick Beverley got suspended for 3 games.
Yes.
But it was like because every single time he shot the ball, he scored.
He scores. Yep.
And he's a good player. He could shoot that ball. Had 22 points last night. Shout out to him. And he's kind of like that third guy we really needed. Like, that's what Raul told me last night. I couldn't agree more. He said he's what we wanted Taylor Horton-Tucker to be.
Yeah, he's what we wanted THT to be. He's the young guy he brings that spark. Speaking of spark, there's one guy who brings us an enormous spark.
You're talking about six man of the year rejuvenated Russell Westbrook?
6 man of the year rejuvenated Russ. Every game, seriously, all seriousness, every game this dude makes big plays. He makes big plays. So yesterday, I believe to close out the half, he made a step back 3, which I never in my life seen him do a step back 3 before. Yeah, I seen him do a step back 3. I was like, huh? And then swish. I'm like, 6 man of the year Russ. And then he made a.
Oh no, news blown him out today.
Then he knew, right?
I knew was going on there.
Then he made a half court buzzer beater. So he always makes, and it was when they were stopping the bleeding too. So it seems like Russ always makes these plays where we're in heavy need of something. He also, I don't know what it is, but his court vision is just, he's in the zone right now.
This is so weird. The word I'm about to use for Russell Westbrook, but it's kind of what he's been. He's been composed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been composed, and it's so weird because it's him.
It's him.
You normally don't think of that way. Think of Russell Westbrook, but he's letting the game come to him for once.
For the first time, it feels like this dude is playing chess. While he plays, it feels like every play he made is a read according to what the defense is giving him. That's what it feels like in every single game. And it's just not only him, it's all these guys. You know what I'm saying? I love what Troy Brown gives this team. Again, we mentioned Russ. Lonnie Walker. It seems like when we need somebody to have a big night, he'll have like 20 points.
And the crazy part about him too, about Westbrook is like, you see, if this is what you were, again, even now, I would not mind bringing you back.
Oh, if he plays like this,
because for a cheap deal, like, I wouldn't mind bringing him back.
Because, and I agree with Alex completely. And what he showed us is, look, this is a guy. I'm sure his ego has to be huge, and he accepted the 6-man role. So one that shows me is that he's coachable.
Right? Finally, I actually did not know that existed. But
I didn't know that. He's coachable, right? If he believes in the coach, he will do what they say. 2, he's a good locker room guy. I haven't heard no problems with the team. He looks like he's having the most fun he has since he won MVP.
That's one thing people always say about him. He's always been a great locker room guy.
Right. And I mean, every time he's having so much fun. Again, I've never seen him have this much fun since he won MVP. Right. To be honest with you, he looks like he's having the time of his life in every single game. And he really does bring the spark to this team. Again, his choices in the fast break, his shot selection, he seems almost flawless in the pick and roll. It seems like he's gonna find. There's passes where I thought there was not there, and he'll get them there.
Right.
It's like, wow, he's just locked in.
Oh, he can shoot now apparently too.
And he can shoot now apparently.
Yeah,
apparently he's one of the best 3-point shooters in our team.
Mind you, look at the numbers. That's like not that much of the case.
Yeah,
but then again, he did shoot like 4% to start the year, so that helps. So she shoots 32% right now currently.
Is there anyone I'm missing?
Cover Lonnie. We
cover Lonnie. We cover Reeves. We cover Russ. We cover AD.
Thomas Bryant's been doing his thing. This is a team where it feels like everyone knows their role, everyone trusts each other, and everyone likes each other. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is from what I'm seeing from this stretch. Oh, and I'm going to continue to say this, by the way, because I cannot stress this enough of why last year was such hell as a fan. This team could do one of the most important parts of basketball, and that's run.
Yes, they could run. They
couldn't do that last year.
Yeah, this team gets back in transition. They get back on defense. They run a lot. They hustle. I mean, they dive in for loose balls.
And I could say this too because last time we talked about the team on air, it was a massive gripe with me. They're taking smarter shots. They're not just tucking up threes just to tuck up threes.
This team actually feels like they have an actual offense compared to those first 8 games of the season. They're taking smarter shots. If I see sometimes where they'll just step into a shot, or they'll drive and see the open lane in the paint. They'll try to crash. But I've seen Reeves get big rebounds. I mean, huge rebounds in games.
Listen, he could jump.
Yeah, he could jump. I've seen him in a pivotal. I mean, in the fourth quarter, he'll get a huge rebound. Russ will get a tip. He'll tip it, and we'll get a rebound like this. They want to win. They want it. This last year, they didn't want anything. This team has heart. Sometimes that's just all you need, man.
Yeah, last year they went for the payday.
Right, exactly. This team, they have a lot of heart. Actually, games coming up, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna win this game.
Right. No, I feel way more optimistic about this team than I ever did last year. Even earlier this year, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna be good this year.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
We're gonna be fine.
You know, the Indiana game, it went exactly how I thought it would go. It was that end that pissed me off. But I feel a lot better. It's because we beat Portland and we dominated.
No, we blew them out. We dominated them.
So that's what made me feel a lot better about it. Now we have this test tomorrow against Milwaukee. Now all I want is a close game in the second half.
Also to add this part with the Milwaukee game too, Chris Middleton
is coming.
Might be back tomorrow,
and that's bad, but also a greater test.
We want to know the way.
Yeah, also a greater test. All I want, if we can have a good game, if we can have a close game in the second half, that's all it will need to tell me what's going to happen this year.
Right.
If we could play with Milwaukee, we could play with anybody.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Exactly. So and Bron's been good since he came back. I think he had that one bad game. Indiana. I put that loss on him too because that was a closeout. I understand a bum made that shot. I understand that, but he still messed up in the closeout.
Listen, I don't know what he was doing. At the end of the day, he's a professional NBA player. You got to at least give him some sort of defense because he was a little too open. I understand. I don't know who that is, but he is at the end of the day. He's a guard who plays in the NBA. I'm just gonna assume he's gonna want to make that shot.
You know what's funny? The 2 games where I felt like we should have won the most is the 2 games where I blame LeBron the most. It's the Indiana game where, again, we beat Portland, so I feel so much better. But that game still is gonna be linger inside me. And the Portland game, I'm glad we beat him back, but the Portland game,
I don't blame him that much for that. You know, he got cooked by Jeremy Grant.
That's my thing. He got cooked by Jeremy Grant.
I blame more Westbrook than that than anything.
Oh yeah, what Russ did was unacceptable. It was. But it was bad. But here's my thing. It was toe to toe. It was Jeremy Grant against LeBron, and Jeremy Grant pretty much essentially got like the game-winning shot. And I was like, what? And that kind of pissed me off. But again, yes, the Indiana game and that Portland game, there was 2 games that we should have won. So this team, in my eyes, should be 10-10. But I mean, hey, we're 8-12, and we were what 2-10? You said
2-10 to start the year. Listen,
we were 2-10. To be 8-12 is crazy. That's great. We have this test again against Milwaukee. We're gonna see because I always like the games where LeBron goes against Giannis. I always like those games. But let's see how AD goes up against Brook Lopez. I like to see that.
Because Brook Lopez is really good this year.
Yeah, he's really good. He's like the Kembe.
I feel like yes.
So I'll like to see how, even though the way AD is, I trust AD. I know what he's gonna do. Just don't get hurt.
That's pretty much my biggest thing about the team.
Yeah,
just don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt. Let's see how. I have a feeling that LeBron's gonna guard Giannis a lot, so I want to see how that's gonna go. And I just want a close game in the second half, man. I'm fine with losing this game. It's the Bucks, man. It's the Bucks.
No, we're still trying to figure some things out, and they're
right.
It's pretty much copy and paste from last year.
Exactly. But if we could keep a close game, I'll be proud of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Just don't play against a team like Detroit and lose by 20.
And don't get blown out. Don't get blown out by Milwaukee. Don't get blown out. Come on.
It's possible, but yeah.
It's possible, but I feel like we're good enough to have a good game with them.
No, we're gonna have a good game with anybody. It's just whether or not we get the win or not.
Right.
But that'll be all.
Yeah, that's all.
That'll be all.
We're as the time's getting closer, my heart is starting to racing more as a Patriots fan because we got this humongous game we're about to watch. So yeah,
subscribe to Sports Dynasty and Mafia Sports Report, and that's all I gotta say. We'll be signing off. Go Pats.
Go Pats.